Throughout the course of reading Subverting Global Myths, one of the recurring themes is the repercussions of colonialism on other countries in the world. This theme plays out like this. A Western country goes into some other country with the mentality that they need to fix that country to be like them, without taking time to understand what the foreign country's true needs are. In addition, they don't always recognize that God has put redeeming qualities in that country that the Western-centric country is trying to fix. And we also see this theme in our poverty alleviation efforts, both here in the U.S. and also abroad. Oftentimes, when these efforts fail, blame is placed on the recipient, even though both the giver and the receiver both have contributions to make. As Stephanie, Day, and I have had the privilege to experience mentorship through the Urban Scholars program here at CCU. However, over our 5-year tenure here, we have seen some of the various challenges in those mentorship experiences here. And through those experiences, we do see that the mentor-mentee relationship is a pivotal microcosm to evaluate the dynamics of larger alleviation efforts. We hope that these insights will empower whoever chooses to mentor or engage in poverty alleviation efforts to guard against the consequences that a colonial mindset tries to impose on us. So, Carol, thank you for having us here. Can you tell us, a little bit, about what you do here at CCU and kind of what your place is here?
I work for City Gospel Mission as a mentor coach and as the Urban Scholars Director. So I use both of those at CCU. As a mentor coach, I recruit and support mentors to Hispanic students in Price Hill. And I also work with Urban Scholars Mentors program for first-generation students. And we recruit mentors and support those mentors at the college level for college students.
Awesome. Carol, and in your time here, you have seen many mentorship type relationships play out through your colleagues, for friends, your own family. In that, what are some misconceptions you've seen about mentorships over the years from both mentors and also mentees?
Okay. Well, some misconceptions would be, which is why our intensive screening process, because I think we all grow up with kind of self-centered thoughts. The misconception would be, I bring so much to the relationship. And I think probably everybody, the first time they hear about mentoring, think, I have so much to give, I want to do that. And I think that's a God-given impulse. But the idea is a misconception because it's a give and take relationship. I believe mentoring is an intentional friendship, and you wouldn't go into a friendship like with what I have. It's a mutual exchange, and that's the expectation that we're both going to get something out of it. So a misconception is that I'm going to be giving. I'm going to be giving. I'm going to be giving. It's really we're both going to grow and change and become more of who God expected us to be. Another misconception from mentees is that the same kind of thing, but from the other side, you're going to give me so much.
Yeah.
It's still all about personal responsibility, and I think I teach mentors over and over, and when we have to reset a mentoring relationship, the best advice usually that changes things is listen more than you speak. So a mentee needs to speak and voice, and that helps them discover, but it's a safe place to do it. It's not all, you're going to fix everything for me because you're my mentor. So we have to unlearn that. All of our expectations of getting. So instead, you're teaching both sides to give and get, give and receive in an equal manner with respect, and that it's going to be for the long haul. No one meeting is going to fix everything. It's our relationship over time where we both grow.
Thank you. And you know, as a last question, however complex or how general, what are some lessons that you have learned from mentoring in your own life?
I think every mentoring situation is a cross-cultural experience because nobody comes from the same background and nobody's like me. So I always have something to learn from another person. And my personality needed to learn how to sit and listen and how to wait for God to work. I fix things in my life. That's my personality. But the cross-cultural experiences that mentoring has brought to me to learn from not just from other people's lifestyle, but from also sometimes from their mistakes. Tell me about those. I want to learn. I don't have to learn everything myself. At one point I thought that I could do that. So what I've learned in mentoring is that it forces me to diagnose what a healthy relationship is. Because in friendships you don't have technically any responsibility for that, but in mentoring you do. You're intentionally growing healthy relationships. So I think it's brought me to a place to investigate that. What is a healthy relationship? And then I can share that with others as they learn to mentor. I had to learn that. You probably do too. So in my life, it's turned out that learning all that through mentoring, because I mentored before City Gospel Mission, that I can bring that to the table as somebody that had to sit through the 12 hours of mentoring training at the YMCA and understand what's important. And then I continue to investigate best practices, which listening is always at the top of the list.
Yeah. So you perhaps one of the avenues that you've learned about mentorship is your own shortcomings. Would you say so?
Yes, definitely. I think raising my children, that was the softening that God did in my heart, that I don't have to be perfect, but I have to be willing and vulnerable to have a healthy relationship.
Well,
so we have Sam Baker here today to kind of talk a little bit about his experience interning with a small business incubator, as well as some of his passion and thoughts for helping underprivileged entrepreneurs get the resources they need to start a business. So Sam, given that there are these language and business protocol challenges that mentors face with mentoring mentees, what do you think are some of the opportunities that mentors miss that are strengths with underserved entrepreneurs that would be beneficial for them to know?
Yeah, I think opportunities to learn. We were talking earlier about how mentorship is a two-way street. and you learn just as much as you teach. And oftentimes, specifically in like a business or a professional context, there isn't that opportunity given to learn as well. I think that's crucial. I would also say that the ability to meet people where they are and grow with them instead of meeting them at the peak of their success. Most business, you whether it's interviewing or promotions or starting business, like they encourage you to be at your peak. Whereas mentorship is about meeting people where they are, and so sometimes you have to go a little bit lower.
Okay, I see. That's very insightful information. So when you talk about learning, you're talking about learning from the mentee about his or her current situation without making certain assumptions that may or may not be correct, right?
Yep.
Okay, what are some good tips to help encourage that learning?
Listen is huge. People always talk about their experience, like people ooze their experience when they talk. Like it's something that we do as humans, and so if you listen, you can start to pick up on that. Two is to actually experience it. Meet them where they like literally physically are.
Are you talking about maybe some of this poverty seminars where people simulate in a time setting some of the struggles that impoverished people go through on a daily basis?
I'm talking that, yes, but even something as small as, okay, for this particular meeting today, we're going to meet at the McDonald's down the street from your house. Instead of meeting 2 neighborhoods over, which is where we normally meet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Makes sense.
so that you're not, so you're in it, you're in the environment.
And then you can make better advice because you're in the environment. So in this concluding part, one of the things that we want to talk about is the significance of the mentor-mentee relationship. Ian and Stephanie and I think it all goes back to the gospel where God became Christ as a human being and died for us to become in solidarity for us. Solidarity is a big biblical theme that Athanasius talked about, where God came down from his purchase, we will say, of holiness to be in connection with man, to experience the sufferings of man, and ultimately to die for our sins so that we can again be reconciliated to him. And we think that this concept of reconciliation, particularly spiritual reconciliation, as well as economic, social, or other kinds of reconciliation, is important because that is the essence of our relationship with Christ. As a mentor, we should be willing to die to our sense of egotistical accomplishments, our sense of comfort, whether that's financial, social, or emotional, to come to the mentee's world and experience the kinds of experiences that a mentee will experience. During the course of this documentary, Sam talked about how empowering it was that his mentor was willing to eat and share a meal with him in his own McDonald's. And I think that that is the essence of what we want to accomplish in the mentor-mentee relationship, where both parties, the mentor and mentee, feel like they can share life together as equals and have valuable opportunities and insights to offer each other. And I think this is the kind of dynamic that Jesus Christ would want us to have in our poverty alleviation efforts, whether it's through mentoring or even larger initiatives.